us go to the third skill. And in this one, we're gonna do, will be introduced to two functions, SUMIF and SUMIFS with S, which mean more than one ifs. And from the naming, you can tell SUMIF is telling Excel sum those values in Excel if they meet specific criteria or specific logic expression or logic Boolean expression, anything that you put as a criteria, and we're going to talk about it in a second. Whereas some ifs sum the following numbers in Excel file. We're going to tell it which one, where are those numbers exist, where the range, where those numbers that you want to sum, and based on not just one criteria, more than one criteria. How about that? So let us start with the easiest one, which is SUMIF. So imagine the following scenario, and that's really used widely in businesses, because most of the time they have like imagine Walmart or Staple, they have all those inventories with receipt purchases, and they have to look into who send that receipt, and always that receipt is associated with some ID that the name, let's say Walmart was marked with number 1065. To make it easy in Excel, it was numerically converted, so you can associate it by that receipt. Okay, so imagine the following: you purchase all those products from different places, and you have a big you are a big distributor to multiple marts, maybe to Walmart, maybe to Meijer, Publix, etc. And every time you see in the bill 1065, those items were from Walmart, whereas every time you see 1060, those all from Meijer, and you want to sum all the items that only came from Walmart. So that's the trick you're going to use, SUMIF. If that invoice or this row of information came from Walmart, sum those. I know how much orders I made in June, for example. If they are from other place, sum them there. Okay, that's the whole idea. So now you got the notion. So for example, in this worksheet we see here, we have the item ID, which is 1065, and the idea is look into, we want Excel, hey, quickly go look into, you might have hundreds, thousands of records, you cannot do it manually. You're telling Excel, hey, go to all these rows and search inside the item ID, the columns called item ID, and try to find all these rows that are associated with the item ID 1065, and then look at the ordered number and sum those. Okay, so as you can see, the green circle, the first one associated with this number here, 25. It doesn't repeat anymore. Here it's repeating second time, third time, or fourth time. Okay, so here we go. So this is the dialogues that are gonna pop up when you're gonna use SUMIF. It has a range, okay, and it has a criteria and the sum range. So the range is where you want me to look into this. This is what you're asking. So SUMIF, the first one, you're gonna tell, you can direct it, Excel, that here is column is called item ID. Try to find me that specific number. Which number? That's when it comes as a second item. Okay, the B1, the criteria, is the second item, which is the number over here. Okay, so you're telling Excel, go inside this sheet, look at a column. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Search for a column called item ID. So start searching, stops here, found item ID, okay? And then it's telling it, hey, look inside that column And whenever you see the value B1, which is 1065, B1, which is equal 1065, every time you find it, jump to, which is the third item we are providing here. This is where the summing items range that you want them. I wanted Excel to sum it up. So the third item in this function is under the orders. Hey, every time you find this B1 in June item 1, which is this one here, we're gonna see it now when we try it. Every time you find it, jump to the column called June ordered, which is here, this one, and sum them. Okay, so evidently it's gonna look at each one, and every time you see 25, it's gonna sum it 50, 75, and 100 until the end of the worksheet. So it's gonna end up giving me the number 100 here, and here where we're gonna put the answer to that value. Okay, so let us watch the video. This skill has two parts. I'm gonna split it into two. We finish the first part and then we'll come back. Okay, so let us do the show me.
To create a formula using SUMIF, select the cell where you want to enter the formula. On the Formulas tab in the Function Library group, click the Math and Trig button. Select SUMIF to open the Function Arguments dialog. In the Range argument box, enter the cell range or named range to evaluate against the criteria. In the Criteria argument box, enter the criteria. In the Sum Range argument box, enter the cell range or named range that you want to add. Click OK. To create a formula using SUMIFS.
Okay. So now we're gonna stop it. We're gonna stop the video here at this time, and we're gonna try to do it on our own to understand it, better. Okay. So again, either you use as the video showed you from the formula, you're gonna look at the math and trig and go blah blah blah, or you can easily just click either here or here what you want to do, which function you want to call Excel. And I'm gonna try to maximize. Hopefully I can do that. So you see it, you can see it better. Okay, so the idea is we want, so this is the item ID, which is this number here. This is B1, and or the second criteria that you want to add to your formula. And here is where you're gonna sum all the orders here that are associated with the 1065. Imagine that this is Walmart item associated with it, and you want to do it with Excel quickly. So first you click equal, and then you're gonna just type sum, and you should see SUMIF started to appear. As you can see, we have 1, 2, and 3 items showing up. Now if you click on it on the formula, you might get help also. Yes, you have a help, so if you forgot some of those. Now if you prefer, just a second, if you prefer to do it like to show you, so I'm gonna say equal, and I'm gonna click the function so you can see the dialog box as the video showed up. Maybe it's easier for you, so let us do that. SUMIF, instead of typing inside the cell directly. So I'm gonna open that so you can see the formula over here, and you can pop it up. See in Mac, you can pop it up automatically to see it. Okay, so the range, again, what is the range? This is what you are trying to ask Excel to look into. Which column that you want Excel to search for specific code or specific item ID in this Excel file. So the range is, in our case, is that area, so you can use your mouse to select it. Okay, it's given it a name, June items. Okay, based on the naming in this automatic Excel file. It doesn't have to. Sometimes you might see it just it was named previously. You might see it just, it says from B5 to B26. Okay, so this is our first item. The second item, so here you don't have to type the comma, maybe it's easier for you, is what you are searching for inside this column, and it's this value here, B1. Okay, as you can see, automatically took the value 1065. Now what you want to sum up that has a value of ID equal to 1065, the following items, the ordered. Okay, and again you might see it in as a file. It says from E, see the column E5 to E27. Okay, in our case here we have a naming for those areas being predefined. Okay, don't worry about it, but that's the whole idea you have to do. Now we are done, just say done. Okay, and here's the value as we expected. And if you want to really see what's happening, just click on this function and you can see exactly what this value is going to be. So click OK, and this is the value where each of the value 1065 appeared, and as we saw, it was 4 times of value 25, so equal that number. I hope now you can understand. Again, we use it to find specific value in a column, but we don't sum up those values, we sum a column associated with that value. Okay, very shortcut. So let us continue now to see the second portion where you can sum with multiple ifs, multiple criteria. And before going into that, let me do this. I want to explain it a little bit for you. So let me close this and go back to show you how it looks like. So now we have something more. So see, you can have as much as you want actually. So what you're doing here, you are saying sum the values in this range. So now the order is different, so pay attention to that. The previous one, the values we were summing, we were provided at the end of the dialog, like the last item. This is where was the range. This is the stuff we are summing up based on criteria, based on a value B1, and if that value appeared in column or range in June item column. Okay, now this became the first one when you have more than one criteria, and that's inconsistent with Excel. That we know Excel is not a, Microsoft in general, they are not professional company, in my opinion at least. They are not consistent, because if they are consistent, they would have left the sum range always first. You know, if they created maybe this function after they developed this one a couple of years, and now they changed the order because a new developer decided to change the order. He didn't like the previous one. I don't know. Okay, anyhow, so first item is the items that you wanna sum up. So again, in our Excel file, this is what the first item you're gonna provide in SUMIFS. Okay, minimize again. So this is the first one. The criteria one is, like we saw in the previous one, that the item ID that we want to find in that range. So find me in the range. We're gonna talk where is the range. Find me that number in you know. So this is the range of the criteria. Sorry. So this is the range of the criteria, and then we're gonna provide the number we're gonna search for it. Okay. Again, First, we're providing the column that we're gonna sum item in it based on value provided as a criteria located in criteria range 1. On top of that, we're not gonna sum only based on that criteria. We are adding also and if the following product ID is appearing in another column called June product ID. So let me go back here to our Excel. So now we're gonna use a SUMIFS based on so we're gonna sum those orders not only based on the item ID 1065 available in this column, but also if this product number here appeared in the following column. So if both of them appear, so let us see, just looking, this is 165, okay? If this is a product ID, no, so it's not gonna sum 25. This value is not gonna be included in this new SUMIFS. Let's see the second one. The second one, yes, this is the same number over here, so it's gonna do the following. Yes, it matched. So in this case, we have 1065 is in the range 1, and the product number is in product number column. Okay, so include this in the sum. I will continue. Let's see the other 65. This one is not the same product ID, so this will be ignored. And we missed one up. Yeah, this is the same product ID. So this one and the following one will be included. So those are the only two that match those two criteria. Okay, so let us watch the video and then we're gonna come up and do it.
The average. Click range to evaluate against the criteria.
Just a second. It jumped up. This is not what we wanted. This is the one. And now let's say show me. I hope.
To math and trig button. Select SUMIFS to open the
So here we're gonna start. Yeah.
Select SUMIFS to open the function arguments dialog. In the sum range argument box, enter the cell range or range name containing the values to be summed if all the criteria are met. In the criteria range 1 box, enter the cell range or range name containing the values to be evaluated against the first criteria. In the criteria 1 argument box, enter text, string, number, expression, or cell reference for the first criteria. In the criteria 2 range box, enter the cell range or range name containing the values to be evaluated against the second criteria. In the criteria 2 argument box, enter text string, number, expression, or cell reference for the second criteria. Continue entering criteria range and criteria pairs until you are finished. Click OK.
So as you notice, you can repeat this as much as you want. It's not only based on those two numbers. Okay, so let us now do it on our own. Okay, so in this case now we are trying to evaluate the total orders in this specific product. Okay, let us see how now we can apply SUMIFS in this Excel file. So either inside the cell, just equal SUMIFS. Okay, the first one we're gonna add the sum range. So the sum range is this value over here. Okay, and you're gonna comma. The second part is the criteria range. The criteria range is which area that you are gonna find your criteria in it, which is the item ID in our case. Okay, and comma. Now we have to supply the criteria. The criteria for the item ID we are looking for is B1. Now comma. The second one, you're gonna select the range of the second criteria, which is the enter which is the product number column, which is this one here. Then comma, what is the exact product you are matching with is this one here. And now you close the parentheses and enter, and that's a value as we said. This is a value, as you can see, the ones that we looked it up, that it matched specifically this value here and this value over here. Not good. Not good. So this is the one we found. This one and this one here. Okay. So row 7 and 16. Those are the one that calculated this number. Very neat. Okay. So let us continue now with the following skill.